I'm joined by the great Jay Schroeder. I mean, listen, I got to brag about you for a second. Third-round pick in the 1984 NFL Draft, 83rd overall, selected by the Redskins. You were also drafted third overall, 1979 MLB Draft by the Blue Jays. So drafts is definitely your thing.
Yeah.
You played quarterback in the league for 10 years, Raiders, Bengals, Redskins, so many great memories, moments you can tell us about. But let's break down this year's draft because 2024, it's the draft of the quarterback. Tell us, when you look at all these quarterbacks, Caleb, Jayden Daniels, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Penix, Bo Nix, all these guys, if you were the GM, you had the first overall pick, you're hanging your hat on somebody. This is the person you're going to be remembered for drafting for years to come. Who's the guy you would take out of all the quarterbacks?
Jayden Daniels is my guy. I would take him. I think he has the ability and the talent to be the guy to run your team and your organization for a long time.
And from what you saw from him last year, 40 TDs, 4 interceptions, 3,800 yards passing. He's the only FBS player in history to have 12,000 passing yards and 3,000 rushing yards. But a lot of the concerns we've been hearing about him, 6'4", he's got a slight frame for how much he runs around. Are you concerned about the wear and tear, getting beat up? You know what that's like. Is that a concern for GMs?
I don't think it should be anymore as much as it was 20, 30 years ago, because the rules have changed. You can't hit quarterbacks like you used to. They protect them a great deal. Plus, I don't think he's as good now as he's going to be. Okay,
Right.
I think Caleb Williams has kind of hit that peak, right? I think he's really good, and he's going to be good, but I don't think there's a lot of room for growth. With Daniels, I think there's a lot of room for growth.
See, that's interesting, and I think a lot of teams are looking for that type of guy. So let's talk about Caleb Williams for a second. Jayden Daniels got the Heisman last year. Caleb got it the year before. People for many years have already been saying this is the draft of Caleb Williams. It's like the Andrew Luck effect, kind of like how they were talking about Trevor Lawrence as well. This guy is just a bona fide #1 pick. So I'm curious why you aren't as in love with Caleb Williams as other people might be.
Well, he's going to be very good, okay? There's no question about it. He's good. He's an exceptional talent. But for me, as a quarterback standpoint, what I saw him do last year, I saw him do some things that I wouldn't want in my organization. He tried to do too much. I think he tried to press to become a 2-time Heisman winner instead of letting the game. There's times when you have to take chances at a quarterback, and there's times you got to let the game come to you. I think he tried to press the issue too much.
Interesting. All right. So now after those two guys, the two Heismans, there's a lot of other questions in this class. People are in love with Drake May out of UNC. People like J.J. McCarthy, the national champion out of Michigan. People even like Michael Penix. So, after Caleb and Jayden, who do you like after those two?
So you just mentioned the 4 guys. After the top 2. Okay, I think there's a separator between those 2 guys. Okay, I'm going Michael Penix next.
Really?
I'm going to go Bo Nix after that. And then I'd go J.J. McCarthy with Drake May last.
Drake May last. Okay, what is it about Drake May you don't love?
Number 1, experience, and number 2, I don't like the way he processes and thinks. I don't think he reacts quick enough. And that's just, he hasn't done it enough, so there's a chance he could get better. But watching what he did last year at UNC, I don't think his decision-making is quick enough yet for the NFL. I think he's going to have to work on that.
How do you find that middle ground? Because I think the people who are believers in Drake May, it's kind of like what you were saying about Jayden Daniels. You think the best is yet to come for him, whereas Caleb, it's already peaked and happened. People think Drake May, it hasn't happened yet. So that's why I think people are excited about him, because they see the development. How do you find that middle ground between what they've done and what they've shown you and what they're going to develop to be?
I look at it on a whole different plane, because Drake May can throw the football like nobody's business, right? But in order to play in the NFL, you're not playing, against Tijuana Tech anymore, right? You're not. You're going against the best there is.
Right.
And there's only 32 teams in the NFL. Those guys can play. And I think the way he processes he's going to struggle for a while until he see if we can get that fixed, because there's too many great athletes in the NFL.
You had a big arm. You had a 71-yard pass. You had a big arm, a lot of talent. When you transitioned to the NFL, what was the biggest thing that you had to overcome, you think, from the college game to the NFL game? What were the levels that you saw?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was blessed because I was out of the college game for 3 years. So when I got to Washington and Coach Gibbs, I just learned NFL. I didn't have to unlearn a college system.
Because you didn't play too many games at UCLA.
I only played in 11 games between my freshman and sophomore year.
Because you were in the farm leagues.
I was playing baseball. So I look back on it. I think that was a huge advantage for me because I just learned the NFL game.
You didn't have to unlearn.
I didn't have to unlearn anything and go, hey, we used to do this and this used to work. I just learned what worked in the NFL.
Last question for you. If you had to pick one attribute, one quality that you would want in your quarterback to succeed as an NFL quarterback, what's that one attribute? If you're looking at all these guys, the number one quality you want in an NFL quarterback?
Decision maker. How does he make decisions under pressure? That's the number one goal because he's the guy that's got to stay calm. He's your coach on the field. He's got to run it.
There you go. You got to love when an NFL quarterback comes into the studio with us. The great Jay Schroeder, a legend, and thanks so much for everything you're doing in our community. Athletic director, also a coach now, Lake Mead Christian Academy. So he's keeping all this QB knowledge right here in the community. We love it, Jay. Thanks so much for all the great insight. We'll see what happens. You heard it here first. Jayden Daniels won. His bottom guy is Drake May. Interesting stuff here.